The past decade has been quite interesting for Nintendo. After coming off of the immense success of the Wii, Nintendo proceeded to publish their least successful console of all time. The Wii U was a commercial failure, just selling under 14 million units worldwide in its 5 years on the market. One of the big reasons why the Wii U failed is because it looked more like an add-on to the Wii rather than a brand new console. However, Nintendo has since rebounded with their new console, the Nintendo Switch. The Switch has sold 103.5 million units worldwide and has since surpassed the Wii as Nintendo's most successful home console. Though Nintendo has changed since the failure of the Wii U and now the success of the Nintendo Switch. The community is a lot more divided now than it was during the Wii U era. There also seems to be a lot more negativity towards Nintendo's business practices than there were back during the Wii U days. So that is why I am going to try and answer the question, what has changed since the failure of the Wii U and the success of the Nintendo Switch? When you went to the store and bought a Nintendo-published game for the Wii U, you would be expecting that you were getting the final product. However, it is completely different now with the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo basically adopted a business model where they would publish games that were about 70% finished, and then they would proceed to finish the game through free updates. And this business model is widely considered to be quite lazy on Nintendo's part. Their character roster in games like Mario Tennis Aces was dramatically increased after the game had launched. They added the other 30% through free updates. Another game, Kirby Star Allies, got new characters through free updates months after the game had launched. They were adding content through free updates that should have been included in the base game. Even with a new game like Nintendo Switch Sports, we actually got confirmation that they're going to be doing free updates for that game before the game even launches. All of these free updates wouldn't be necessary if Nintendo just delayed these games a little longer to get everything working fine. Consumers who buy the game at launch will feel cheated after they buy a product that isn't finished. Even when those free updates do come out, most people who bought the game early would have already lost interest in it. And it is extremely hard to get back into a game that you lost interest in. A game like Zelda Breath of the Wild was supposed to come out on the Wii U, however it was delayed several times until it ended up launching on the Switch. The game was delayed so many times because they wanted to make sure that everything was right before they released the game to the public. And the results speak for themselves. The game has sold 25.8 million units worldwide and actually won Game of the Year. If a game is not ready, don't release it until it is ready. Another way Nintendo has changed in these past 10 years is the overall management of the company. The executives that used to run Nintendo were a lot more charismatic and a lot more open with you. However, there were two main executives that are no longer with Nintendo that were the most recognizable, with those being Satoru Iwata, who was president of Nintendo, and Reggie Fils-Aimé, who was president of Nintendo of America. Iwata was very prevalent in early Nintendo Direct presentations where he spoke to the viewer about new projects that Nintendo was working on. It felt like you were having a conversation with the president of Nintendo. To show you what kind of person Iwata was, we have to look back to the Wii U era when Nintendo was not doing very well. Iwata slashed his own salary in half to make sure everyone was paid instead of firing people. Given how big Nintendo is as a company, something like this happening would be extremely rare, and a lot more people gained respect for Iwata because of it. Iwata would do anything for the sake of Nintendo, and the community embraced him because of it. Reggie Fils-Aimé was no different, as he became the subject of many online memes and became very acquainted with the Nintendo community. Even though Reggie wasn't behind the scenes working on the games, he sure was in front of the camera promoting the games and selling them to us. The reason why people like these two executives is because they both showed personality, which is something you don't get very often in business. Nowadays, the company feels more like a soulless corporation under Nintendo's new leadership. Nintendo's new management is nowhere near as involved in the community as both Iwata and Reggie were. When Iwata passed away in 2015 and when Reggie left the company in early 2019, the sense of community that was built around these two executives was lost in that moment.
On my business card, I am a corporate president. In my mind, I am a game developer. But in my heart, I am a gamer.
The difference in sales between the Wii U and the Switch is absolutely massive. The Switch has outsold the Wii U by almost 90 million consoles. Given how badly the Wii U performed, it is probably safe to say that the majority of the people that bought the Wii U were hardcore Nintendo fans. The same cannot be said for the Switch, given that it has sold over 100 million units worldwide. When you bought a Wii U, it felt like you were part of this small group of Nintendo fans. In my personal opinion, I believe the community was absolutely vibrant during this era. If you don't believe me, go look at some reactions of when Cloud Strife was announced for Smash 4. No! Even though the Wii U was a failure, the people that did buy it were on a journey that not many other people experienced. As someone who grew up with the Wii U, I can certainly tell you that I do not regret wanting that console. I still remember the days of Smash 4 when characters were still being announced, and I remember it being some of the happiest times in my life. Some of my fondest memories came from playing games on that console, especially with the fighter ballot, which I remember voting for Banjo-Kazooie almost every other day. But now with the Switch, and given how many people have bought it, it seems like that sense of community is also gone. Owning a Wii U made you feel like you were a part of this exclusive group of people that really enjoy Nintendo games, while owning a Switch is just like being another cog in the wheel. However, this change was bound to happen once you add another 90 million people to the equation. Even though being a Switch owner is pretty great now, I will always remember the Wii U era as the time where the community was at its best. In conclusion, many factors have caused the community of Nintendo to change, as well as the company itself. When you follow up a massive failure with a huge success, things are bound to change. And that is exactly what we have observed with Nintendo. I don't think all of these changes have happened for the worst. I think a lot of these things were absolutely necessary for Nintendo. But as someone that experienced the Wii U era, God, do I miss it. Anyways, that is pretty much all I had to say. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I also hope that it made at least a little bit of sense. I don't really know how to end this video, so I'm just gonna talk about Minecraft until the outro ends, because holy crap, it is such a good game. It is actually the best-selling video game of all time, and I cannot believe it, because this game came out in 2009, and it took it this long to actually be the best-selling game ever. Like, it passed Tetris, and I thought that game was